right, listen, I appreciate that. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Phil Anselmo. I've been doing gigs since I was 13 years old. I joined the heavy metal band Pantera in 1987 until the end of the band in 2001. And geez, damn. That was a ride, man, with Pantera, man. The first real heavy metal band to come in at #1 on the Billboard charts. And I'm born and raised in New Orleans, and I take a lot of pride in that, you know what I'm saying? I've always spread that around the world, which I've been around the damn world a bunch of times, and that's enough about me. You know about me, and I play right now in a band called Down, and it's all New Orleans-based guys except for Rex from Texas. He's the original bassist for Pantera as well. What else about me? Enough, man. Let's roll.
And tell them some of your back history with drug abuse.
Back history of drug abuse. Is this scheduled for an hour or what?
It is an hour.
6. All right.
They'll probably stay late for you, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, there is no reason, really, that I can point to. I am an extremist when it comes to everything. Anything I set my mind to, I'm an absolute extremist. I cannot say it any better. And I was injured. I had a back injury from, and I don't suggest anyone do this, but I would climb up on top of PA systems and dive head first either into the waiting crowd or into the waiting concrete, and it made no difference. I would attack on stage, and I paid for it, Jack. I ultimately injured myself, and like putting a Band-Aid over cancer, when you rupture a disc in your back, it begins this thing called degenerative disc disease. So that means the next one's going. And then, you know, obviously the next one after that, and then so on and so forth. Well, I think it was about the time when the record came in at #1. I was pretty terrified. I was happy as hell. Don't get me wrong, man. I was like, oh my God, yes! And at that point, I had just got back from the doctor, my second MRI, and I realized I had 2 blown out discs. Now, in order for me to be this Superman that the media had built me up to be, I had to quell that pain. You understand me? So it started with, and I ain't laughing, man. It is, you know, we can laugh together, but this ain't funny, really. I started off with regular painkillers, which would be your hydrocodone-based painkillers, Loracet, Loratab, whatever. And muscle relaxers. And I'll call one out for the evil that it is. There's one called Soma, which should be yanked off the goddamn market, pardon me, if I slip up with the language sometime. I guess we're all adults, and just remember, it's just words. I didn't invent them. So, eventually you climb up the painkiller ladder, because painkillers lie to you. They will magnify that injury, and that's all that's on your mind, the injury and painkillers. Up the ladder I went, stronger painkillers, stronger painkillers, stronger painkillers, and you hear, and you damn well know, When your audience is looking at you different, when your band members are looking at you different, you're going, man, what is wrong with Phil? What is wrong with Phil? You get a little tired. You get weary of it. You feel like this 20-something-year-old, which I was, juggernaut, man. You want to leap out of your skin, but you can't anymore. You can't just hang out anymore because it hurts to hang out. Or you're too loaded. And once everyone starts laying this trip on you, that's when you close the door and the needle slides in, Jack. And from that point on, you are on your own. You're on a ride. And I wouldn't suggest anyone in this room, I wouldn't suggest on my worst enemy this particular ride. So, that's where I was. That's my drug background. We can get into some specifics here in a little bit, but.
Did you feel like the record label glorified the drug use?
Absolutely not. Normally a record company is out of the loop, the last to know. I don't need this. The last to know.
But you
They're mechanics.
Right.
They're mechanics. I'll tell you what happens though. When you're signed to a big record contract, which I don't even know if it really exists anymore today. The music system is so different, but back in the 90s, when you had a record contract, you had publicists, you had a million different tentacles and satellites that were doing work for you. But normally, a publicist is the one who pushes you to have your face on the cover of these magazines. The Kurt Cobains, the Lane Staleys. Rest in peace, by the way. And me, destroyed, drug-riddled, pathetic, yellow, right there on the cover of a magazine, and you have no choice but to submit and be put under a microscope. And hey, it's a chapter of your life, man. It don't go away. It don't go away. And they will glorify you. When you're on top of the world, man, they make you, the media that is, they will make you MTV magazines, VH1, it don't matter. They'll make you Superman. But once Superman stumbles, it's kind of like the old adage, man. Once you get big enough for your head to see over that fence, that's when people start throwing rocks at it. Once Superman trips up, man, they will judge your talent, your accomplishments, and your trip-ups, and solidify your entire life in one paragraph. And it hurts, Jack. It hurts, because they don't know you. They don't really know you. They don't know the struggles. They don't know what it's like. Most writers and media people are wannabe musicians anyway that can't do it. And that's the truth. So ask another question.
So do you still mistrust, do you still mistrust the media?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, straight up, man, case in point, when Pantera was breaking up, man, I was a wounded animal. My will, which we'll get into later, will all of us have a will now, and we'll definitely get into that, but my will was defeated. I could be drugged one way or another. Started another band, side band, super joint ritual that turned into this other thing when Pantera was hanging, and then this media thing. A war of words via black and white sentences. You sit there and you read it. Now, basically, what happened was I did this particular interview with this cat, and on the way out, we're walking off the bus. He's behind me, and he's like, man, I hope this doesn't, get out of hand between you and Dimebag and Vinny. He goes, man, what would happen, man, if they jumped you or something like that, got mad at me, jumped me? A very hypothetical thing. The way I speak, and look, I said something to the effect of, I'd kill those boys, they can't fight me, I'd kill them boys. You read that in black and white, I'd kill those boys. It is as literal as a mofo. It is literal, and they took it very literally. And the media ran with that, man. All over the world, man. In different languages, And at that point, there's no more, there's a rift. There is a rift. So yes, I don't trust the media at all, unless I have to sit there and really think of a concrete answer. You can't wear your emotions on your sleeve around the media. And I do wear my emotions on my sleeve big time. So, beware.
Do you feel like when all that started happening that you turned more to heroin and to maybe get through the tough times? Or
No way, I was already knee deep in heroin, man, neck deep in heroin, That made no difference. It didn't make me turn any which way or another. If anything, it made me want to pick that phone up and go, wait a minute, Dimebag, wait a minute, Vince. This is taken way out of hand, bro. But there was no answer at the other end of the phone. And they weren't calling me either, so.
You did. You speak a lot of this about will.
That's right.
Why don't you describe that to him? What does it mean to you?
What does will mean to me? Will is something we are all born with. And what will does for me today is everything from wake up, get out of that bed, take my fused disc, triple fusion. I had 3 discs fused. And I have titanium screws and rods and stuff holding. When they tell you, we're gonna put 6 screws and this clamp in your back, you think maybe it's this neat job or something like that. I saw MRI of that thing. It looks like I have a nail bomb inside of my body. I mean, it's like 6-inch screws. It's like, my God. So you got to get up every day and will yourself into stretching, keeping in shape, a workout schedule, eating breakfast, working. Now, hey man, that might be funny right now, but when you're on dope, which I'm sure we'll get into later, breakfast don't come in eggs and bacon. I'll put it that way. So, everything, regiment, will pushes you. But will is incomplete without love. And love's a trippy word. I know that I remember being a whippersnapper like you folk out there, man. Hey, love, man. You can put love in many places. But put it this way. How many, just a question, how many of y'all are lifers, serious musicians that want to actually do this for your life? Okay, good enough. Then I'm really talking to you at this point. The rest of you, you ain't got no choice but to listen, lest you run. There is a saying. That love is nothing more than a jack-o'-lantern. You know what a jack-o'-lantern is. You know that candle that flickers, but it does go out now. We don't know how long. Love is a jack-o'-lantern that hovers over graveyards and bogs. But if you take that love and attach it to will, it becomes a lighthouse that brings you safely into harbor every time. Study hard on that. Think about that. Ask another question now. We'll get on.
So do you think it was will that, got you to stop picking up the needle or to stop using altogether?
Ooh, that's a tough question right there. Okay. Once you close the door and slide that needle in, heroin is the great controller of all. Of all. Every single goddamn thing you do. The way you sleep, the way you wake up in the morning, and your hands reach over pathetically to get your first fix of the day, which gets you out of bed. Matter of fact, heroin in a nutshell when I say controls everything, I mean everything. People think painkillers and things like that are only numbing out pain. You take them for long enough, they start numbing out your emotion, man. And once your emotion is numbed out, then you are controlled, Jack. You're controlled. It's got you. It's the most important thing in your life, whether it be this tiny little pill or this funny dust. And you're trading your family, your brothers, your sisters, the brothers and sisters you call friends on the street, lifelong friends. You'll stab them in the back. You'll stab them in the back. You'll break their hearts, and you won't even know it. So I wrote this, man. Might be terrible. But, shit like that happens. Okay. Now this is me. Heroin. Here's your day. 1:41 p.m. sharp. Wake up with things to do. This is living on the heroin calendar and schedule. Wake up with things to do and a bundle of 10 bags. That's 10 bags of heroin I'm talking about. Shoot 2 bags. Make love with that first rush of the day, Jack. Because before that, you wake up, your bones are freezing to death. Bam! Instant gratification. Smoke half a pack in bed. Make a phone call about replacing his rotted wood on the front porch frame. Smoke break, not off. 8 bags left, do 2 of them. This is all in one day now. I just woke up, remember, 1:41 sharp. No, I don't want to join your internet club. All right. 8 bags left, do 2. Revel in temporary numbness, smoke break. Call about getting the front porch screened in with locks. 2 more bangs, 6 bags left, smoke. Not off. Miss the callbacks. Lay in bed, smoke. Call about repainting the front porch. Sucker ain't even fixed yet, you know? Call about repainting it. Office hours are closed. Leave an indecipherable message. Work done. Take a break. Stay in bed. 2 more bangs. 4 bags left. Smoke. Not off for an hour. Ignore the phone ringing. Wake up. Smoke. Bang 2 more bags. That means 2 bags left. Call someone about something, no answer. The clock reads 5 or 6 p.m. The sun gone from the sky. Shoot 1 bag. Neither so great nor definitive, meaning the high. You're like, man, that didn't feel enough. Do your last bag. Not off. Wake up with a vengeance. It's 7:55 p.m. Start making desperate phone calls for my next fix. Heroin at best, methadone at worst. And we'll get into methadone later. Wait. Chain smoke. Whimper. 1 pack of cigarettes left out of 5. Tears begin to well up in your eyes. Smoke more. Regret. Just begin to sweat. Take your last 3 somas, muscle relaxers. Lay in bed. Really sweating now. Take off all your clothes till you're naked and start to freeze, but continue to sweat. Take your last 2.5 Xanax. I'd sit up Indian style, rock back and forth, crying harder now, and think about the Down syndrome similarity. Regret. Crash out. The phone rings like a thunderclap at 9:37 p.m. That clock is important to you. Don't think it ain't. Answer immediately. Score. Dope and smokes in an hour or so. Relief. But fear always lingers till dope is in hand. If you don't know, stay in bed. Shake empty pill bottles. Paranoia. Mentally pace, because you ain't getting out of bed. Thinking all the wrong things that can happen from there to here in dead silence. A fleeting moment of guilt. Living out the true blight of being wealthy enough to have suicide delivered upon request. No hitting the streets for me to cop. Irony. Trading one disaster for another. Not a light on in my house as usual. Just listening for a car door to slam. Eyes fixed on the digital clock, minute by blurry minute. Delivery at 3:17 in the a.m. Stay in bed, because that is where I am always. $500 trade without conversation. Bang 2 bags. Not off. Not hearing whoever leave. Time to start the day. And that's it, bro. You're not getting high anymore. It's fear that controls you. One little thrill. Oh, I only do it a little. That's a laugh, man. And it's not a fucking funny laugh, pardon me. Because once you start chasing your own tail, meaning there's 2 points here, especially as a musician. Once you started something, a band, something that's from your heart, something that's organic from you. And I was lucky enough to have this success. I don't know about luck. I done broke my back for what I believed in. Busted my head off. I bled from my music, man. But heroin, when I say it controls all, I wasn't singing anymore about levels of confidence and power and walk and, you know, and all these songs of positivity. I was singing about dope. It even comes out in your lyrics, man. It comes out in your music. You go back and listen to it, it's like, oh my God. You lost yourself. Yep, you sure did. You chase your tail. It's fear. The junkie fears the sickness, the illness. Because dope sick ain't fun, bro. It ain't fun. It's miserable. And the only thing that cleans it up and fixes it up is more dope. Unless you are genius enough, like I was, to start taking methadone. Once you start taking methadone, it's over for 90% of people. They live their lives to wake up at 9 a.m., go to the methadone clinic, get their dose, and go on about their lives. What happens when Katrina hits and then methadone clinics were closed? I'll tell you what happens. You go into the worst detox, crippling detox. I had a friend of mine who was thrown in jail during Katrina, and he was on whatever milligram. Doesn't matter how many milligrams you're on it. He had to detox in jail. He was so goddamn pathetic, they had to throw him in the hole by himself, take him out of the populace. The only way I can describe coming off of methadone is falling from a 50-story building every 3 minutes of your life. Every 3 minutes of your life is terrifying. That's why people can't come off. You get me? It's fear. You don't start playing music to get to dope or drugs or booze. You don't. You start playing music because you love it, man. Am I right? Huh? You bet your ass I'm right. You just don't do it, man. And it is there, baby. It's a plague. And I know you damn youngsters, boy, I tell you, man, each generation gets more extreme and more extreme. I don't fear you. I feel sorry for you, man. But it takes will, and it takes the overcomer to give the bird finger to it and say, I got a gig to play, bro. Because once you start chasing your tail, I'll end it like this. No matter how great you were, how great you are, whatever you think, don't matter what magazines say, it don't matter what your fans say. It matters what's going on with you. There's 2 points. High and sick. High and sick. What happens in between? Huh? Fucking zero. Pardon me. But zero. Zero. Lest you're out on the road, like me. And you got to get up in front of 20,000 people and make a rollicking ass of yourself. And get judged in print. Your whole life. Microcosm in some crappy, glossy page metal magazine. That ain't no epitaph, bro. That ain't no epitaph, ladies and gents. No way. Next question.
So, how long have you been sober for?
Okay, sober's a harsh word.
All right, all right.
Let me explain that now. Let me explain that now.
I can get more detailed with it.
All right, we can get as detailed. Look, this ain't for the
When's the
squeamish,
last time
man.
you've picked up the needle?
Okay, now that is a hardcore story. I was with a friend of mine. I was holding dope. This was 2002 or 3. I'm not going to guess anymore, but somewhere around there. And this friend of mine, we used to party back in the day, you know, shoot dope all the time, you know. This guy was a little bit of a follower. Smart guy. Extremely talented. Anyway, I was holding. Me and him were together. We're speeding down the highway. A pitch dark highway in Louisiana somewhere, on the way to a gig. And there's 2 guys driving up front. He tells me, man, I'd like to party tonight, you know. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, I said, you know, it's been a while, man. You know, you sure? You sure? You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. So, me being the medical genius I am back then, especially, I gave him what I called, like, pardon the expression, but a pussy shot. A little bit. Just a little touch. And I injected him. I asked him, how you feeling, bro? He's like, good, man. Someone up front asked me a question. Just like that quick. I turned around, I answered, I turned back around. This dude was stiff, his eyes were closed, and his lips were like that, tight. And I said, hey, I called his name several times. No answer. Boom. I'm freaking out. I grab this dude, and he is as rigid as rigor mortis. And I'm grabbing him and I'm shaking him and I'm shaking him and I'm pulling his beard and I'm slapping his face and I grab the ice cooler and I reach down his damn pants. I'm putting ice down his pants. My friend, who I've known since I was 16 years old, is overdosing. There's no damn hospital. Speeding down the back roads of Louisiana, I'm looking around, I'm freaking. I don't know where to tell these guys to drive. And my friend is he's dead. I freaked out. And I reared back and I went boom right in his chest. Boom. His eyes popped open. One pupil was looking this way, the other was this way. Kind of like the actor Marty Feldman. And I was scared, man. He wasn't back yet, man. He looked crazy. I was thinking brain damage, retardation. I didn't know what was going on. I hit him again. Boom! And his eyes went, right back together. And he's like, whoa, 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 man, whoa. And I'm like, oh my God. I stayed awake with him all night long. He was sleeping, kept trying to doze off, probably still loaded. Boom, I'd kick him. We got back to my house. I laid him out on my sofa. We stayed up till the sun came up. I stayed up with him. Wouldn't let him go to sleep. And this whole time, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I just killed my best friend and brought him back to life. Nope, I ain't a saint. I ain't no saint, man. I'm the king of the liars. I'm the king of deceit. It's what heroin makes you. It's what dope makes you. Cocaine, heroin, whatever, they all go hand in hand. They're all in the same boat, and that boat sinks. It's got holes in it. And that was the last time I ever picked that damn needle up. That was the last time I did heroin.
What are some of the lasting effects you think heroin has on you?
Lasting effects?
Yeah.
Depends on the person. I still have friends that have been clean for longer than I have. They still have dreams about it. Well, that's very common too. Dreams about it. They go to certain parts of town and they're like, oh man, that's right where I used to cop. I used to go right down that alley and meet this guy or whatever, and tell the whole story. And it's constant. It's constantly in your brain, in one form or another. With me, I know it as enemy. I know it as enemy. That's why I'm here today, man, honestly. Because you can't fight heroin, but the only way to fight, I figure, is to wisen you people up now. Wisen you up. And that's tough, man. When you're in your 20s, man, early 20s and shit like that, man, your will is aloof. You got one. Blockades come up. Because your will is your path. And all I suggest is you navigate slowly. Because life is going to test you anyway. There ain't none of us born with a silver spoon, really. It don't matter what walk of life you're from. Life is going to test you anyway. And point being is if you're going to go ahead and cripple yourself on dope, number one, you're not going to be equipped to deal with life's tests. Number two, you're either going to end up in jail or in the morgue. And I've seen it all. I've toured with hundreds of bands. I've seen hundreds of addictions. Pantera. Oh, still. Don't you even imagine this ain't true. And if you do, you better wake up and apologize. We were the hardest drinking band on the planet. Hands down. And I'll tell you what, if Dimebag were alive today, he'd be in some severe medical difficulty. Because Rex, the bass player, my bass player, drank himself so stupid, he's got pancreatitis now. He's 42 years old. 42 years old and pancreatitis. You know what that means? Huh? Anybody? That means if he takes a sip of a wine cooler, he has no idea if it's going to kill him or not. Kill him. And at one point, yep, he was acting just like a junkie. Hiding bottles. Hiding. Any of y'all watch that show, Intervention? Yeah. Huh? Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? It's entertaining, isn't it? Just watch other people, isn't it? Answer me, it's entertaining, right? It's true. It's real. Rex was just like any alcoholic on that damn show. He lived in California, and I swear to you, the night the entire band was going to meet and have an intervention with my bass player, he had already done himself in, man. And at this point, look, man, I'm not gonna talk about the negative after this because there is a positive side. This dude has probably spent over $100,000 on high-dollar, high-class detox centers, medical help-me centers, you know? I'm an alcoholic. The first 3 times he went, I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it to save my marriage the next time. I'm doing it to get back in the band the 3rd time. Guess what? None of them worked. You know why? Huh? Does anybody know why?
Didn't have will.
Do it for yourself.
You named it. You named it, Flannel. Young Flannel. You got to do it for yourself, and you have got to want it for yourself. You can speak all the language you want, because you'll hear it out of the attics. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, I'm fine. Mommy, my mom's here. How many times did I tell you I'm fine? And I was full of shit. How many times? Hundreds? Thousands? She's telling the truth. And since I talked about my mother, look, this is short and brief. But this is the truth. And I know y'all are at an age, everybody wants that independence, everybody's a grown-up, everybody's a person. This is a simple question. It's not, I don't mean for it to be funny, but I want to see the hands. How many of y'all are close with your mother and love your mother to death? Okay, that's good enough. I call this the straw killed the camel. When your own mother has no choice but to walk away from the ghost of her only son, who still walks with his transparent, dullard tenant, who has taken up residency in his vacant carcass, but over and again, to call her sadness is an insult to her emotions. While I'm arrogant, aloof, insane, a liar, and completely blind, she in unison is trapped in private hell, made of me. The moment her back rests on her closed front door at the end of the day, of a work day, of any day, she begins sobbing. She prays for my very troubled soul in life. She cries her eyes out, day and night, remembering word for word the last thick-tongued, slurred, hateful phone call I'd made. Months. Let me see here. Damn, I don't want to join your internet thing. All right, let me see. The last hateful phone call I'd made months previously, it was the last time we had spoken. This is years ago. On that day, I told her spitefully that I would kill myself with heroin again, over and over and over, till she dropped the phone and ran out into her front lawn and threw herself on the ground, and there she stayed, racking her brain over why and how her firstborn's love-filled nature ever came to be withered and dying on the barb when his young life should be in full bloom. When Mom quit answering the phone and walked away from me, I wasn't calling anyhow. And that is the saddest part to that story. They'll walk away from you, man. Especially a mother like me. I don't mean a mother, but a mother, man, like a son of a bitch like me. Strong-headed, mule-headed. What are they gonna do, tackle me? Nope. It was my decision. My decision.
Right now I'm gonna...
Yeah. Just a quick recap on my bass player. He's been sober now for 2 years. 2 years he's been sober. He ain't got a clap. He ain't here. But he's been sober for 2 years, and I love him for it. Next question.
I was going to open it up to any of you guys if y'all would like to ask.
Cough it up, man.
Any questions?
Who's got questions? Raise your hand. I'll
Just
pick
come to
you
the
out.
microphone. Yeah.
Go ahead, big brother.
What's your take on all these new, like, younger? What's your take on these new younger bands doing like a bunch of Pantera covers and all these Pantera cover bands coming up? Like, do you support it? Do you think it's cool? And what's your favorite Pantera album?
Well, if you're doing Pantera covers and stuff like that, that's fine. That's absolutely beautiful. Where you going? Mommy, you got a pee-pee? Listen, man, it's flattering. It is absolutely flattering. I know Pantera invented a whole different style of heavy metal. We took our influences and whatnot, but for bands that cover, is that what you're saying? Cover.
Yeah.
That's fine. I take that, I say, go for it, little brothers and sisters. And that leads me just to a quick thing. There's a question asked a long time ago. Hey man, what's it take to be big? Musicians, you know. What do I gotta do? What do I gotta do? I'm in a band. Well, there's a difference between a decade ago and today. A decade ago, bands used to take their favorite 10 bands and rip them off to all hell. Rip them off. But within those 10 bands, you're gonna find your own style. Today, of course I won't name any bands, but today it sounds like most people, most kids, most bands listen to their favorite 2 bands and rip them off all to hell. That don't work. That's regurgitation. And I think that's kind of where the state of music is, for the most part, for heavy metal, for extreme music, right now. Questions? St. Vitus.
You've been like very vocal about certain like films that are inspirational, like horror films, like the Bob Clark, Alan Ormsby, like Black Christmas, Children Should Play the Dead.
The original.
Yeah, the original, and like Evil Dead, The Exorcist, James, et cetera, et cetera. Is there anybody today that's doing horror films, in your opinion, like the way they should be done, like a true vibe, atmosphere, like
No.
live, or Don't Be Afraid of the Dark?
No. No. I honestly, I think films have gone to hell, just like music. Very bland. No, I'm not gonna say they don't make good movies. I thought The Orphanage was interesting, but it's still not Mario Bava's Black Sabbath. It's not Mario Bava's anything. It's not a film with Barbara Steele in it. No. Atmosphere, you know. Honestly, it's the writer's strike in Hollywood. That's why we're seeing all these awful remakes. Last House on the Left, Black Christmas, I could go down. The Wicker Man, oh my God. If anyone has seen the original film, huh. I know Colin Yeo and other people here. The original film, who said yeah? There you go. Okay, what are your feelings compared to the original to right now, to the new one with Nicolas Cage? Can you just say it in one word? Pardon me?
It's musical numbers, come on.
You mean the first one? The first one had, no, it's many elements. I wouldn't even label it a horror film.
No, it's all over the place.
It's all over the place. And that's another thing that makes a great film, when you can't really categorize it. Good call. Questions, man, make them harsh.
We're out of time.
Go ahead, Gray Biggin.
A couple questions for you. First, are you a fan of the like the so-called new American heavy metal bands like Lamb of God, Mastodon? And also, how do you feel about people recording live shows and also just general music downloading?
Well, free downloading is killing music. It's killing music. How do I feel about today's top bands? I feel that they've been extremely influenced by Pantera. It's pretty damn obvious, wouldn't you think? Does anybody else hear it? Maybe a little? Like, maybe a lot? It's flattering, but that's how things roll, you know. Bless them and best of luck. I know Lamb of God's doing good. You know, what else?
We're actually out of time, but if you guys want to stay and ask him questions.
Come on, let's ask some questions. Go ahead there, Flannel.
Favorite musician?
Pantera's not my favorite band.
Musician.
The band I'm in. One of my favorite musicians is a man called Donovan Punch. He played in a band called Soylent Green a long time ago. But he's on his own trip now, man. And he's one of the greatest guitar players I've ever seen. See y'all later, man.